and teens and children in today's world. Spectrum News 13's Jeff Allen spoke to an expert on how it can impact their lives and how you can speak with your child about it. Here's more for today's In-Depth.
Dr. Candice Jones joins us now in studio. Thank you so much for joining us
today. Thank you for having me.
We have a very important topic to talk about, something that people might not realize, just the true impact of racism and how children can encounter that just even from a young age. It's definitely something that can not only lead to mental problems for them, but physical problems.
Absolutely. Impact has such huge impact on the health and well-being of children, and I really applaud the American Academy of Pediatrics for putting out this policy statement. And so children who experience racism or even witness it or even perpetrate it, they're all affected by racism. Those children can definitely experience physical harm, mental and emotional harm, and psychological effects. And so this can be lifelong. Childhood trauma is lifelong impact on their life. And so that's the reason we need to work on this and come together and talk about it and put a dent in it. We also know that with racism, it is a social determinant of health that creates health inequality for minority populations. For instance, African-American newborns or babies have higher rates of infant mortality and preterm birth, and that has been linked to the chronic stress of racism. So there's evidence for this, that we need to heal it and move forward, and because it affects the health and well-being of our children and our families.
Dr. Jones, you're an Orlando pediatrician. You're also a spokesperson for the American Academy of Pediatrics, and this is a nationwide effort that they're really doing to try to talk to these children. You know, they go in for a checkup. They're checking their vitals, maybe they're got a little flu bug or something like that, and you're also asking them some questions to kind of get an idea of just how much they have possibly faced racism in their young life.
Right, as pediatricians, we are at the prime location to discuss all sorts of issues for children and families. And we often do a lot of anticipatory guidance where we talk about safety and helmets and all these things to keep children safe and healthy. And we are now making a concerted effort to talk about racism with our families, no matter what quote-unquote race you are, so that we can start to open up these dialogues and make sure that children know that we're all one human race and that our small differences are minute and we're way more alike than we are different, and we should embrace those differences and treat each other equally.
We'd all like to think that maybe, you know, a 5 or 6 year old, you know, wouldn't even face this, but the unfortunate reality of the world we live in is that it is out there. What are some of the areas where those young kids, you know, really come face to face with this?
Yes, racism has been around for centuries. It's a made-up construct. It really is. But our children, it's a reality of modern society still. It has gotten better, but it's still there, and our children definitely. So some of the things that I hear in practice, you know, kids can be called racial slurs on the playground. That's a common one that we all know about. And then in their daily lives, racism can affect the conditions of their life, where they live, where they work, their parents work, and where they play. And we're getting into safety problems with racism, where if a child is at Walmart, they may have to be worried about being attacked or physically harmed. So again, this is all very traumatizing, and it can cause them physical, emotional, psychological harm, and we really need to work on this.
And ultimately, it's not something that's the easiest topic for parents to discuss with their children, but once you maybe identify that they have come into contact with some of this, you then instruct those parents on ways that they can talk with the child, and that's what's so good about this, you know, a nationwide effort to really delve in and find out what they're facing, and then try to help those parents continue to talk to them about it.
Absolutely. I recommend that parents be proactive about this. They don't wait till their child comes home and says that someone called them a name. That we tell them about race and racism, and we tell them how we want them to act in those regards, and prepare them for when it happens so they can handle it positively.
Well, such good work, and it's going to help a lot of them out. Thank you so much, Dr. Candice Jones, for your time. Appreciate it.
Well, today we are learning that Pentagon will